Hello to everyone watching. We are kindly asking for your help in case you know any authentic and genuine lawyers in Canada or South Korea. There is a company located in Toronto, Canada, called Avlitex Global. Com, our Korean team, which had been conducting business with Avlitex, has encountered a serious problem with them. To get straight to the point, our Korean team currently has $6 million USD worth of assets BTC, ETH, USDT locked $4.4 million from the German team, led by Klause, and $1.6 million from the UK team, led by Bastian. In Korean won, this is roughly equivalent to over 9 billion KRW at current value. If someone is willing to help resolve this issue, we will offer an hourly wage for any related work, and if the issue is successfully resolved, we will pay an additional $30,000. A formal contract can be made if needed. Currently, other teams are also experiencing similar account lockouts, and the number of victims is increasing, making it appropriate to go public with this issue. We are already posting videos and content online to expose Avlitex's misconduct. In order to prevent further damage, we entrusted approximately $6 million worth of crypto assets to Avlitex, but they suddenly locked all Korean accounts without prior notice, starting April 21 and have not paid the promised profits. Their justification is that each person is allowed only one account, and they claim Korean members violated this by operating multiple accounts. However, even members who did not violate this rule had their accounts locked without distinction. In fact, the use of a single IP address by one person is entirely unrelated to the company's claim of multiple account usage. Since opening wallets and managing cryptocurrencies is difficult for older members, introducers often assisted them. The company used the issue of multiple accounts as a pretext to suspend profit payments, starting April 21st, violating their commitment. First, they broke their initial promise to process withdrawals within 72 hours after the request, instead delaying payments indefinitely. Second, they promised that a new system would be developed and operational by May 6th to resume normal processing, but this turned out to be another false claim. Third, they alleged that fraudulent profits occurred due to multiple accounts and stated that if a penalty payment of approximately $250,000 USD split as 105,678 aims USDT from the Klause's German team and 139,640 USD from the Bastian's UK team was made for referral income, the accounts would be immediately reopened and profits would resume as before. Yet this promise was also not honored. Even the Japanese team, introduced by the Korean team, was told they could unlock their accounts by paying a $7,500 penalty. But after Japanese team paid, the company changed its stance and demanded all Korean members pay before unlocking any accounts. The fourth broken promise was after we paid the full $105,678, they suddenly demanded an additional $50,000. Although trust in the company's promises was already gone, Korean members had no choice but to comply, hoping to retrieve their assets. When we offered to personally visit Canada and pay the $50,000 face-to-face, they scheduled a meeting for September. But even after requesting a specific time and place for September 24th, we never received a response. When this issue arose, Klause from Germany and Bastian from the UK, who introduced us to Avlitex, assured us not to worry and promised to do their best to resolve the problem for the Korean members. They also clearly expressed their willingness to help settle the financial matters. Klause personally promised to cover $50,000 of the disputed $105,678, and trusting his word, we transferred $55,000 up front. However, the response we received made it seem like Klause's German team was also colluding with Avlitex. Klause's team used another excuse, claiming that the company had instructed that the entire disputed amount must be paid by the Korean members. They told the Korean investors to gather as much as possible, promising that they would cover any shortfall themselves. Similarly, Bastian's UK team as if following the same script, also lied and pressured members into paying the penalty. Our Korean team collected $17,000 from 1,043 Korean investors as promised, but Klause himself never paid a single cent of the remaining amount. Instead, he insisted that all the remaining funds must be covered by the Korean investors. Consequently, the Korean team gathered the full $105,678 and transferred it. The company, which reclaimed all the so-called referral earnings, labeled as illicit profits, should have honored their promises. However, they are now demanding additional penalty deposits, $50,000 from the Klause's German team and $30,000 from the Bastian's UK team. So far, these payments have only been promised after an in-person visit to the company. We believe this is unfair, but since we must recover the members' assets, we have no choice but to make the payment. However, we will not send the money unless we personally verify that the company fulfills its promises. Avlitex has repeatedly stated through various channels that once penalties are paid, accounts will be reopened immediately and normal business and profits will resume. However, they now say that unless an additional $50,000 is paid, nothing will be unlocked, so we offer to surrender the highest top-level account, which is worth more than $50,000 in future profits, in exchange for unlocking. But CEO Raymond simply said they would confiscate the account and still won't unlock member accounts. This strongly indicates that the company has no intention of returning our assets. For example, funds were transferred from Korea to Japan, where about 30 Japanese investors participated. Although Japanese investors had no connection to the multi-account issue, they demanded to know why payments were withheld in Japan. Despite having no valid grounds, the company forced the Japanese investors to pay a penalty of $7,600 to have their accounts reopened. Reluctantly, the Japanese investors paid the penalty, even after the Japanese investors paid as Avlitex demanded, promising immediate payment. The company kept changing its stance after receiving the money. In short, although the penalty was fully paid as the company insisted, Avlitex has not made any payments. Meanwhile, we've also received reports from the UK. Another 80 Korean investors connected via a British introducer have also had their accounts locked. Despite paying $135,000 in penalties, the situation remains unresolved.